else. But let's take a look at the puzzle real quick. So this is a puzzle that I actually posted yesterday, but it wasn't solved. But quite a few of you guys have made the guess this time, so that is we're going to go over it real quick. So this is the puzzle you guys see below. And it employs a really cool tactical theme. So the correct first move is indeed knight takes d5. Pretty cool. So sacrificing the knight, which is actually very common in knight versus pawn endgames. When both sides have knights, typically sacrificing your knight for some better position is usually how you end up winning. So this makes sense, knight takes d5, and here's why it makes sense. Because after pawn takes, you don't take this pawn back. All right, actually taking this pawn back is not winning. What I would notice here is you have a pawn chain of 3 black pawns against 2 white pawns. And so what you want to try and do is sacrifice this pawn, and then if white takes, you sacrifice this pawn, and then if white takes, you're going to promote, right? So the follow-up move is actually e4, right? And like I said, if white takes, this is like super easy because you're just going to go f3, and you're going to make a queen either this way, or if white's pawn takes, you're going to make a queen this way. But white actually has some other ways of trying to kind of maintain, maybe not pressure, but make it harder for black. So if white plays knight c4, now you have to be a little careful because white is thinking about rerouting to d2 and maybe stopping any ideas of promotion. And you do not want to push here. This immediately, I think this is winning for white now, because white's going to be able to stop these pawns either by bringing his king either to e4 or e2, and then the knight can kind of help guard. So hey, No Theory, welcome, man. Shout out to No Theory, by the way, also a streamer. Streams chess and other things too. Okay, so knight c4, and the follow-up move here is just pawn takes, right? And now obviously if white takes the pawn here, you're going to be able to promote and win. But white has some tricky moves. He plays knight d2, right? So obviously threatening to take this pawn, and you have to be careful because if, yeah, this is the puzzle today, No Theory. You have to be careful because if you play pawn takes g2, white can actually come to f3 and hold everything. And I think if you throw this on the computer, it's like, yeah, it's a draw. It's even. I mean, Stockfish is suggesting crazy moves like promote to a rook. Like, this knight is not going anywhere. You're going to be able to stop this pawn, and white's going to be able to bring his king in eventually and prevent all of these pawns from promoting, right? So that's not the move. That's not what you want to do. So after you take and knight d2, the move is f2. All right, f2, and then after king d3, obviously the king wants to get over here to stop these pawns. You don't want to take on d5 because that is going to allow the king to, I think king e2 is the move here. Yeah, king e2, and you're not going to be able to promote any of these pawns. Casper says, oh, f3 later. Exactly. So after king d3, the right move is f3, right? In endgames, it's all about making pass pawns, even if you have to sacrifice your pawns, right? So now f3 is the move, because white can't take this way because white's guarding the promotion square. So, you know, if knight takes, then you just promote. And if pawn takes, now you can play here. You can play g2, and you're going to be able to promote. So everybody said the right suggestion at the beginning, which is knight d5. But like I mentioned, white still has some tricks. After going knight c4 and knight d2, you still have to be really careful. So definitely the right idea. And again, the idea is just, hey, you know, if he lets me, I'm going to push here. And if white takes, I'm going to push here. And if white takes, you know, white's up a ton in material, but it doesn't matter because I'm about to get a queen. Right? So pretty cool puzzle.